$69 million by 69 years old. So here's the problem, right? Although I really like doing the Instagram and the YouTube thing, I think a lot of what I was doing before kind of took away from my focus of just being a good investor. Like, a lot of what I was posting, both on Instagram and on YouTube, was like, here's this random story that I find interesting, you know, kind of pertaining to an investor, or look at what this stock did, which that's all good to know and it's interesting, but it doesn't necessarily pertain to my overall goal of trying to become the best investor that I can. So that's why I kind of want to deviate from my previous videos. And you know, it's kind of one of those things of like, I'm looking at it and it's like this realization of like, nobody cares. Not even me. Like, literally nobody cares. So that's why I think going forward, I want to do something on this channel that at least I can care about. And again, it all goes back to me trying to become the best investor possible. So I want to do something that at least I can care about. That's why going forward, this channel is going to be, both this channel and the Instagram are going to be kind of like a financial vlog, if you will. Called a Flog. Every other Saturday is going to be an upload, just going over updates of my financial life. And a lot of it is going to be focused on individual stock picking. I feel like there already are a decent amount of YouTube channels as well as Instagram pages that focus on financial independence from the standpoint of this is what you do with credit cards, and this is how you budget, and this is how you save and invest in index funds. Or this is why you should spend money on this and not on this, and this is how much you should put towards rent, and this is how much you'll save from that and invest in index funds. And that's good. I respect the index fund move. However, that's not me. My goal is to become the best investor that I can. And I should have made that clear with myself from the start, and that's why I think kind of going in the direction I've been going, I kind of lost that a bit. So my goal now, I was trying to come up with a good number. I thought, obviously, you know, shoot high, $1 billion, too difficult, 100 million, too difficult, 10 million, too easy. So a logical person might say 50 million, but then I'm like, if I'm doing 50 million, I feel like that would have to be by 50 years old, and that's difficult, like math-wise. So what's the next best option? Obviously, 69 million by 69 years old, and for only that reason and no other reason, just because the math works out well, no other reason. Yeah, so every other week, every other Saturday, updates of my thoughts on the stocks I currently own, what I think I might buy next, what I might sell next, what I am buying or selling, dividends received, any updates. I'm always like thinking of new ways to think about my investments. So any new updates with that, and kind of just overall progress of my goals. So that's why I obviously have the long-term goal of 69 million by 69 years old. However, splitting that into smaller goals, one of them is going to be to invest $10,000 in 2023, and the other one's going to be to have a $100,000 portfolio by 2025 when I'm 22 years old. So this channel is just going to be a good way of following along with that. And it also is a way to help me cut down on time to produce a video. A lot less separate research going into it, a lot less script writing, a lot less planning. If you couldn't tell, I'm kind of just like spitballing this intro here. And that's what I think is going to make this channel truly, very specially authentic. So that's what I want to do going forward. Hang along for the ride. Will I reach 69 million by 69 years old? I mean, that would be sick, but will it happen? I don't know. Will I have a portfolio that big? I don't know. So that's why follow along to see if it happens. I have to follow along because this is my life. But if you want to see if I do it, subscribe, keep watching, check in every 2 weeks, check in on the Instagram, and that's what this channel is going to be going forward. So if you want to hang around, hang out, hear my thoughts over the last couple weeks for, you know, the next couple minutes, and check back in 2 weeks. All right, so it is November 28th, 2022 at a little before 1 p.m. So I was kind of looking at prices. Right now, basically, possible buys just in terms of in the companies and whatnot. Boston Properties, Target, Penske, Compass, Titan Machinery. Those are kind of like my 5 that I'm looking to buy. A lot of them, I'm looking for lower prices. Titan Machinery, we're sitting at a little above 35. If we could get that, at one point we were below 30. I mean, if we were below 30 again, that would be nice. Compass is an interesting one because, you know, they were sitting below $2 and then they spiked up to almost $4, back down to $2.76 right now. I don't mean to make this like a technical analysis thing, but I think it is important to check prices just to see like kind of what you're buying. So, I mean, you know, if I could get Compass for, you know, 3/4 of what I'm buying it for now, or 2/3 even, if I could buy the same Compass for 2/3 of what it's selling at right now, then that's the ideal situation. It's selling at $2.70 something right now. If I could buy it at $1.80, which it was at before, that's the ideal situation. So that's why I'm not too eager there. Penske's had a heck of a run up. You know, again, nothing wrong with it, but you know, I think there's better opportunities price wise. Same with Target. Great run up. They're still down from their last earnings, November 15th, 16th, morning of the 16th, it looks like. So, I mean, I'm not against buying Target, but really the one I'm really looking at right now is I think Boston Properties, honestly. We're sitting below $70 a share. That's like near like decade lows, and it's still the same company, and they're still buying properties, and they're still becoming more valuable. So I think, basically, I think when I buy shares, hopefully in the next couple of days, it's probably going to be Boston Properties, assuming if we could stay around the $70 mark. Might buy like a share of Target, because again, it's still off from that bad earnings report. But yeah, so maybe like a share of Target. Might put the leftovers into Compass because we're still down from like the spike off that earnings report. So yeah, so I mean, the price there isn't bad. I just wish it was better, if that makes sense. You know, the other idea I've been toying with is selling the rest of my Pepsi, which I think is only like 16 shares or something like that. I've been considering selling that and just putting it all into like Target, honestly, or Boston Properties, or, you know, maybe split it between the two, something like that. I just don't think Pepsi's the most valuable thing in the portfolio right now, so that's kind of where I've been dealing with that. But I don't know, I'll get back to you guys on that. I gotta think through that one some more. So that's kind of the update for right now. So here's another interesting one to think about that I've thought about before, but I don't think I've said it here before yet. So on the quest to $69 million by 69 years old, you know, it's important to break things down into like smaller, more attainable kind of goals. So one way I kind of look at it, right now I'm sitting at a $50,000 portfolio value, right? Give or take. I've doubled that portfolio, you know, from my initial contributions until today. I have, give or take, $25,000 in contributions. All I need to do is double that portfolio 5 more times to get to 1.6 million. Obviously, it's not easy to double your portfolio, and $1.6 million is still a lot. However, I think that's just kind of one way to kind of think about it. I've doubled before, I can do it 5 more times. It won't be easy, but I can do it 5 more times to at least get to the 1.6 million, and then going from there, getting to the 69 million, which again, 11.6% per year, that's all we need. Easy, no, but doable, yes. So yeah, 5 doubles to get to 1.6. That's where we're at right now. All right, it's Thursday, December 1st, a little after 11 a.m. Here's a funny one. I'm reading an article about Compass right now that came out yesterday. Just now getting to read it. The article is on Business Insider. It's titled, Selling Sunset Broker Jason Oppenheim Says Compass Basically Destroyed the Brokerage Model for the Entire Industry. Now, first of all, I don't know if anybody else recognizes the name Jason Oppenheim, but that is the broker that Graham Stephan worked with for years before moving to Las Vegas. So that's an interesting one. And basically reading through the article, he talks about how Compass faces a grim reality. There's no fixing Compass. He was critiquing their split system because Compass usually does a 90-10 split with all of their agents, which basically just means that agents keep 90% of the commission, Compass keeps 10%. That's I will say, if you don't know anything about real estate brokerages, historically that's very high. Usually brokerages for the longest time were in the range of like 50 50-50 up to like 80-20 was like on the high range. So Compass doing 90-10. I mean, even in some cases they were doing 100% zero. There were reports that certain offer letters to agents allowed agents to keep 100% of commissions on their first 8 deals and then switch to a 90-10. So again, very high commissions. That's been like a known thing for Compass. And Oppenheim is saying how that's like ruining the industry. And by the way, Compass literally made a note that they have no plans to change their split policies, which is phenomenal. And Jason Oppenheim is saying, oh, this is ruining the industry. It's forcing all the other brokers to up their commission splits, and it's putting other brokers out of money, and this is so bad for the industry, and Compass is ruining the industry and everything. He said his suggestion for a more sustainable split was the most successful agents at 80-20, newer agents at 60-40, and then the middle section of agents at 70-30. And then when he was asked to comment on his range of splits at Oppenheim Group, he declined to share his range. I don't know. I guess overall, I think this Business Insider article very funny because I see what he's saying of like, yeah, this is like putting a lot of other brokerages out of business, but like it or not, Compass used this model and has become large enough to become the largest broker in the United States, and that's in about 10 years, by the way, whereas the Oppenheim Group has been around for well over 100 years, and I think it said in the article somewhere that they have 40 employees, 40 agents. So yeah, so like it or not, I mean, Compass is changing the industry, and you kind of just got to get behind that. Basically, I'm probably going to buy another 100 or so shares of Compass because that's just funny. That's funny, and I invest when things make me laugh. Is that the best policy? Probably not. I don't know. It's gotten me where I am today, so... Oh man, hey guys, I'm just reading through this. Later in the article, conveniently hidden very deep towards the end of the article, quote, Oppenheim said in his Inman interview that at one point he hoped Compass would buy me up, but the brokerage said it never responded to his inquiry because he would not have been a culture fit and therefore we did not want to waste his time. So it sounds to me like Jason Oppenheim's a little salty at Compass for not buying him up and for changing the industry and making his company less profitable. Sucks to suck, man. Okay, so today is December 5th, 2022, around 3:20 p.m. It's been a couple days since I've had any big updates, not because things haven't happened, but more so just because I've been a little busy. But anyway, Titan Machinery came out with earnings a couple days ago. Hang on. November 30th. Okay, today's Monday. Titan Machinery came out with earnings on Wednesday, November 30th. Absolutely banger of a report, okay? Key things in the report, 3 key things. I'm reading this right off the report right now. Revenue up 47.3%, earnings per share up 88% to a new all-time record, and they increased their 2023 EPS guidance. Previous EPS guidance, 2023 EPS guidance for Titan Machinery was $3.70 to $4 per share. They raised it to $4.55 to $4.85 per share. Do the math on that, whatever percentage increase that is. That's a pretty good increase in the guidance though. So earnings almost doubled over the last year and increased guidance. Banger of a quarter. However, I don't think I'm going to buy more right now. I'm also just realizing that you guys can see my notebook in the corner there. That's okay. I'm not going to buy more right now because basically I want to see how the company weathers through a rougher storm, because Titan Machinery has kind of a shaky past of not managing their business the best way possible. And what I mean by that is in the past they've tried to expand to new states and stuff, and it has not gone well. Like 10 years ago or so, they basically pulled a Subway and they opened a bunch of stores right next to each other that all kind of started eating into each other's revenue and earnings, and just not a good time for Titan Machinery. Earnings fell off a cliff, went negative for a couple years, terrible times. Investors lost tons of money. But recently, they've gotten back on track. They've divested a lot of their poorly performing stores, starting to expand responsibly now, more responsibly, taking their time in expansions. So far, expansions have been successful. A lot of this double in earnings over the last year has been from successful expansion. Mark's Machinery, a new Jaycox implement, and Heartland Ag. So that's right, they've been doing very phenomenally with that so far. Nothing wrong there. However, the reason I'm not buying anymore right now is because I want to see them weather through rougher storms. Mostly the reason I'm saying this is because over the last couple years or so, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but we've kind of been in a bubble. And interestingly enough, in a bubble, commodities aren't excluded from that. So over the last couple of years, we've seen commodities like crops, for example, corn, wheat, soybeans, everything else, prices for those have gone up. So now all of a sudden, everybody wants to be farmers, right? I mean, not everybody, of course, but farmers have made a lot of money and agriculture related companies have made a lot of money. AKA, Titan Machinery has been able to sell more farm equipment because farmers have been getting more for their crops that they're selling. Recently, prices for some of these crops have started to come down. So my thinking right now is if crop prices continue to go down over the next couple months, and if Titan Machinery still reports a really good quarter for earnings next quarter, then I might be willing to buy some more depending on the price and whatnot. But I think that's kind of where I stand with Titan Machinery right now. Next important piece of news, today, December 5th, 2022, this morning, I saw it come through my feed. SL Green cut their dividend. I don't own SL Green. However, that's really big news because SL Green, big competitor to Boston Properties. Not necessarily competitor, but same industry. They both own office properties. So that's a really good indication to see kind of how the industry is moving. Now, here's the thing. I recognize SL Green as a weaker competitor from the start because, I mean, a number of reasons. They had a ton of debt, then they were selling off buildings to cover that debt, and then because they had less buildings from selling them off, they were bringing in less money, so revenue's been going down for like 7 years straight. Just bad situation at SL Green. Okay, so quick interjection here. For context, it's December 7th at 11:50 p.m. I'm working on editing this part that you're watching just now. Usually when I edit, I go back into some old research and find screenshots to put like in the video, right? That's kind of how you guys see that along the entire video. So I'm trying to find a screenshot for the SL Green announcement of the dividend cut, and I stumble upon their Investor Day presentation. What the heck is this, guys? They deserve the dividend cut. That's it. Back to the video. Because of that, obviously right now with the dividend cut, we're seeing, I think last time I checked, like a couple minutes ago, right before I started recording this, SL Green was down like 6 or 7% on the day, Boston Properties was down like 4 or 5%. Like, you know, again, it's gonna be like a ricochet thing in the industry. However, I think longer term, medium to longer term, this is a positive, assuming Boston Properties can maintain their dividend, which I think they can, for a lot of the reasons I just mentioned with the problems with SL Green that Boston Properties doesn't have. Because of that, I think this downturn will help to weed out some of the weaker competitors like SL Green, like, you know, some other office REITs. And I think Boston Properties, realistically probably ARE, that's another big one, and, you know, probably a couple others. Those are going to be the ones that emerge as the top, and investors in those stronger companies are going to make those outsized returns. So that's why, as a whole, I'm not really worried. I want to, I don't know if this is going to be in this video or the next one, but I want to, at some point, get like an Excel spreadsheet together of kind of SL Green's like profits over time, just kind of see like how that's flowing with dividends. I've done that with Boston Properties. I've not done that with SL Green. So I wanna work on that. At some point, I'll show that to you guys. Last piece of news. This is just like a very out there thought that has been a very out there thought for a little bit, and I saw kind of a thing about it today and made me want to share it with you guys. I've been toying with the idea of investing in Indian stocks. I'm sure that sounds a little weird and a little crazy and a little like, why would you do this? However, my reasoning is more along the lines of Peter Lynch's thinking of keeping it simple and everything. Here are some things I've noticed. First of all, a lot of the attention I get on my Instagram is actually from Indian investors. I'm not trying to target Indian investors. I mean, I'm in Eastern Standard Time Zone. So I mostly post during daytime hours here, and I mostly post about, in fact, I pretty much only post about American companies and American stocks. So to get that attention from Indian investors, I mean, that's like kind of a cue to me that there's like a strong young investor population there that I think could help drive the markets there. And in addition to that, I just saw a piece of news today that Apple's looking at possibly relocating one of their plants in India. And India's a very quickly growing country and economy, similar to China, although unlike China, they don't have a massively controlled government. I haven't done a ton of research into this idea. I don't even know, maybe things I'm saying right now are wrong. Maybe India's not growing. I don't know. I'm fairly certain they're growing, but I want to research this idea more. It has been a thought of mine in the back of my head for a little bit now. So just making that public that has been an idea. So that's where we're at today. Today is December 9th, 2022 at about 8:50 p.m. So after the close of markets on this Friday, my portfolio is currently worth $49,270.86. Here's a summary of all the changes over the past 2 weeks, including a total decrease in my portfolio value of $1,321.31, or 2.61% since November 26, 2022, 2 weeks ago today. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to follow me on Instagram and Reddit to see more updates, and subscribe here to see what happens next in the next 2 weeks. New formats kind of throwing me off, you know what I'm saying?